All right, y'all, what's going on? It's Combo Breaker 99. I am back with another post-fight discussion video. All right, y'all, Cynthia Calvillo versus Loopy Godinez. All right, y'all, so going into this fight, I had to lean towards Cynthia Calvillo because I felt like if she was able to even show just a shade of what she had at 115 a few years ago and maybe go back to her roots of her grappling and her wrestling and being that scrappy type of fighter, I said, okay, maybe she can show those veteran skills and mix it up a little bit with her striking and actually come out on top in this fight. You know, maybe she'll be able to outstrength Loopy at times. But Loopy, got to give it to her. She's a very strong wrestler. She didn't do much wrestling in this fight, but she does have that physical strength. But I have to give it to her form as far as how her boxing went. You know, she was committed to it. She made some nice adjustments in the first round and the second round at times, even though the second round was close. I'm not going to lie, the second round was close. After watching it again, you know, I think that the activity of Cynthia Calvillo was giving Loopy problems in the second round, but I think Loopy made some nice adjustments with some front kicks to the stomach that were much more effective. You know, she was landing the harder blows, you know, like those damaging blows. Now, she did draw blood in the second round, Calvillo did, but it was a real tight round. Now, the first round I did give to Loopy. I thought everything was working, you know, in her favor as far as the pressure, but it was a very competitive fight. You know, the experience of Calvillo, it kind of kicked in later in the fight. If she would have maybe gotten more takedowns, she probably could have won this one. But yeah, there was some tight moments in the second. So I do agree with the split decision. You know, I do agree with that. If it would have went either way, I think it was a split decision is what I'm saying. But if it would have went Calvillo's way, I wouldn't have argued it either, you know, because the activity of Calvillo, it did start to show on the face of Loopy, and she did start to outstrike Loopy towards the end of the fight. But yeah, I haven't seen Calvillo look this good in a while. You know, even in a loss, you know, I haven't seen Calvillo look this good since she was at 115, like what, 3-4 years ago. You know, and this is where this is where she should have been. Honestly, like she really probably just needed the right nutritionist where she could have been sticking it out at strawweight because she probably would have had a title shot by now. You know, she probably would have had a title shot, whether she won the title or lost. You know, Calvillo probably would have been in that realm, you know, getting more wins. You know, I just never felt like she had the body and the physical strength for a flyweight, right? And this fight was evidence that when she moved down to 115, you know, she has good cardio and her striking and her takedowns are more effective, even against a physically strong fighter like Loopy. Now, going back looking at the first round, Loopy, she did have the tighter form. You know, she had the tighter form and her boxing was on point. You know, how she was cutting that range off quick, landed some good overhand rights on Calvillo. Calvillo had the lazy left, so, you know, she was getting hit every time she stepped in behind her jab. So that pressure was effective. Calvillo, she was circling her right to avoid the right hands, but she was still getting hit. I guess it was because she, like, paused for a minute, then step in. And when you have those, when you do it as a two-step process, your opponent can read that. Maybe I'll do a video on that sometimes if you need to understand what I mean. Like, when you stop, step in, your opponent can read that and she can time her right hand. It has to be all one fluid motion. Like, as you move to your right, step in and throw the punch at the same time. You know, it's got to be a simultaneous movement. Something like Bernard Hopkins has said in the past, when you throw the right hand, you just got to not think about it and let it go. Same with the jab, right? Like when Calvillo stops and throws a jab, it's got to be fluid. You know, take your head off the line, throw the jab, step out. But early in this fight, early in the first round, she was kind of missing those shots. Not measuring well either. You know, she was just kind of like stepping to the right, and then she kind of throw that lazy jab off the mark. So Loopy, she was closing the distance nicely. Like when she step in, she would use the low kick, then she'd come over the top with the looping right hand or the left hook. So she was throwing nice hooks. You know, she was utilizing her frame and everything. So after maybe like a couple of minutes in the round, whenever Loopy started getting into a groove, she landed a good right hand, and I think it kind of buzzed Calvillo because she kind of stepped back to the cage, looked like she was kind of foggy. So what did she do? She used the IQ. She stepped in, got a good takedown. You know, she got a good takedown. That's where she needed to be in this fight. But Loopy's defense on the ground with that little butterfly guard, she did well kind of defending the attempt of Calvillo trying to get top position, so they were able to get back to the feet. So the takedown, it kind of turned the tables a little bit, kind of wore down Loopy just a little. But I still give that round to Loopy. You know, it's getting competitive, but I gave the first round to Loopy off of her boxing and landing the much better shots. Now, the second round, I think Calvillo, She was using her kicks a little bit more. You know, she was using her kicks in a much smarter way, but Loopy was still closing distance and, you know, landing the harder, stiffer shots. Even her 1-2, you know, they were stiff, effective blows. Calvillo, she started to land her right hand more at different angles, but sometimes it wasn't straight enough, in my opinion. Like, she threw the straight jab, but she was kind of lobbing the right hand, kind of like how Amanda Nunes does. Like, it's not like a spear. Like, she'll kind of pitch it. And when you pitch it, you know, it kind of gives your opponent a chance to block it because they see it coming. Like, they see it coming, like, you know, like it's over the head. So when you throw the jab and then you kind of pitch it, it's like, uh-oh, I see it coming. It's falling down, you know, instead of it like going the straight line, like the same as your jab. Like, she wasn't throwing it straight as her jab. So Loopy could kind of block these shots. Now, a few of them landed, but some of them Loopy was able to deflect. So whenever she would throw that right hand, Loopy would make the adjustment by throwing a front kick to the body, which I thought was nice. You know, she started working the body. But Calvillo started putting that jab in Loopy's face, staying busy, like I said. And the one prediction I did get right was there was blood. Loopy started bleeding from the nose. But to me, Loopy was putting together effective sequences. And I think that's how I gave it a second round when I watched the fight. When I was watching the fight with y'all, I thought the second round went to Loopy, but could have gone either way. Could have gone either way because, like I said, those jabs from Calvillo, they were catching up. All right. Let me see the third round. Now, the third round, Loopy, she came out bleeding. She came out already bleeding from the work of Calvillo here. So I think sometimes the judges, they look at that. But Calvillo, she started kind of getting into a groove. And to me, this is what she had to do in the first round. Like, Calvillo should have been doing a lot of this type of work in the first round. So by the third round, she could have been scoring takedowns. You know what I mean? Just to kind of cap the fight off. But Calvillo, she started getting into a groove, jabbing effective. Loopy, she was landing her nice body kicks here and there, still working the body. But Calvillo also landed her side kicks. Not as much power, but to me, they still score. You know, she was still landing shots. Calvillo just kind of peppering Loopy through this round. But Loopy still staying in it with the harder strikes, you know, whenever she would let something go. So to me, that's where it kind of made it hard to score. But honestly, this round, with what Calvillo is landing, you'd have to give it to her. Because even though she's not throwing as hard, she's still slamming something in the face of something to Loopy, and she's landing, right? And she's still drawing some blood. So at this point, I think Calvillo is clearly winning the round. I know there was a point where Loopy, she was able to get the back of Cynthia Calvillo and try to go for that big slam, but Cynthia, she got to her knees, and to me, I thought she defended that as a takedown. That really wasn't a takedown because she kind of bounced back up with it, right? So I had to give Calvillo this round. I gave her the third round. Loopy was always in it, though, you know, so there were some moments where it's kind of tough to call, but I gave the round to Calvillo. Okay, so 30-27 for Loopy. I think that was a little crazy. I think it could have been 29-28, you know, across the board for Calvillo or Loopy. Or 29-28 is, you know, split decision as well, you know. But 30-27 for Loopy, I thought was kind of crazy. You know, I didn't see it. I didn't see it that one-sided. I thought the most convincing round that Calvillo lost was the first round to me, even with the takedown, because I thought she was getting control most of the first round. But the second round was very competitive, you know, and could have went to either fighter. Third round, I believe, went to Calvillo, though. Yeah. So, yeah, it was a split decision. And if it would have gone to Calvillo, I wouldn't have argued it either. It could have gone. But much like the first fight, you know, between Sam Hughes and Jacqueline Amram, you see these veterans kind of taking these young guns in the strawweight to school. You know what I mean? And that's what it is sometimes. You know, you're going to be in there against these tests. And Cynthia Calvillo, to me, like I said, going into this fight, I kind of had to rock with her as my pick because I think, yeah, I was thinking that, you know, she moves down to 115 in a convincing way as far as, you know, making the weight and not making it like a drastic drop. You know, she was going to be strong in this fight. And she was. You know, she wasn't the most powerful striker, but to me, she kind of got her second win. And, you know, when she started finding her range with the jab, she wasn't afraid to let go, right? But overall, it was a good fight. You know, they were in there throwing hands. It wasn't a boring fight. Like I said, they both can wrestle and grapple. But I figured they were going to, you know, kind of cancel each other's ground game out, and they were just going to strike. And that's what it was. So, yeah, man, from here, Loopy, got to win over a veteran, much needed win. From here, maybe a fight with Yasmin Jauregui, just so we can see Yasmin's ground game tested and her strength tested as well. You know, that would be a good fight. You know, Yasmin's already fought Denise Gomes and Estela Nunes. You know, Estela Nunes definitely wasn't a big test like Loopy, so we need to see Yasmin tested against a strong wrestler like that. Or, you know, if they feel like Loopy's ready for a top 15, let her get that, all right? Calvillo, you know, this was, I can't say this was over for her yet. You know, this was just kind of like her first fight back. And I hate to count her out because her last 4 fights were at flyweight, and that's where she didn't need to be. So I can't say it's time for her to retire, even though she is in her mid-30s. You know, she didn't look that bad in this fight. You know, like I said, this fight you could have argued she won. So this might sound crazy, man, but since she was ranked number 14 at flyweight and Tatiana is ranked number 13 at strawweight, what about that fight? You know, I'm just kind of throwing that out there because if, you know, Tatiana wants to come back to strawweight ASAP, you know, that would be the fight to make because everybody else is pretty much taken, right? Why not make this veteran fight? You know, this was a fight I used to want to see like 3-4 years ago. I mean, am I wrong? Now, I'd be wrong to do that, right? Because Calvillo might get stopped in there with Suarez. Yeah, let's be real. Man, let Calvillo fight another one of these young guns coming up, right? That would probably be better. What about Calvillo versus Sam Hughes? That's a good fight. Yeah, Sam Hughes versus Calvillo. Let Sam Hughes get her a veteran in there now and see how she holds up against somebody like Calvillo. Yeah, that's a better matchup, y'all. But, yeah, man, that's all I got on this, guys. Just wanted to talk about this one a little bit more because, you know, I wanted to see what Calvillo could do in there. And after the second viewing, it was a much more competitive fight. Like I said, first time around, I thought Loopy won it. Second time around, could have gone either way. But, yeah, that's my thoughts. Let me know, guys, what y'all think. Combo Breaker 99. I'm out. Subscribe. Peace.